Did Jungkook really just hold Taehyung like he was afraid to ever let him go? What happened at Incheon airport that made both of them tear up in front of hundreds of cameras? Stay until the end, ARMY, because what you're about to read might be the most emotional moment in Taikook history. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to show your support, because tonight, the world is talking about one thing. Jungkook and Taehyung together again, and more real than ever before. The night sky above Seoul was unusually quiet that evening, as if the city itself was holding its breath. Incheon International Airport, normally buzzing with arrivals and departures, was suddenly transformed into a sea of flashing lights and screaming voices. The word had spread faster than anyone could imagine. BTS's Jungkook and Taehyung were coming home. Fans flooded the arrival gates, their banners shimmering under the fluorescent glow of airport lights. "Welcome home, Jungkook. We missed you, Taehyung," and most notably, "Taikook forever." The phrase that had followed the two idols like a shadow for years. But none of the fans waiting there that night could have predicted what they were about to witness. A moment that would leave the entire fandom in tears, questioning what was truly going on behind the scenes. As the automatic doors slid open, the air seemed to change. First came Jungkook, dressed in a simple black hoodie, his mask pulled low, his hair slightly messy from the long flight. Despite his casual appearance, there was something heavy in his eyes, something that made the fans go silent for a brief second before the crowd erupted again in screams. Cameras clicked like rain. Every movement, every blink, every glance he gave was captured by dozens of lenses. But Jungkook wasn't looking at the cameras. He wasn't even looking at the fans. His gaze darted behind him, searching until Taehyung appeared. Taehyung walked slowly through the gate, his posture calm and elegant, but his eyes, those deep brown eyes that had once mesmerized millions, were locked on Jungkook. The moment their eyes met, something electric passed between them. It wasn't the look of two friends reuniting after a long trip. It was something else, something raw, unfiltered, almost painful. And then without hesitation, Jungkook moved as he dropped his bag, stepped forward, and pulled Taehyung into a tight embrace. Not a polite, professional hug for the cameras. Not a friendly shoulder pat. It was the kind of hug that spoke louder than any words could, desperate, trembling, full of emotion. Jungkook buried his face in Taehyung's shoulder, his arms wrapping around him so tightly it looked like he was afraid that if he let go, Taehyung would disappear. The crowd gasped. Even the paparazzi fell silent for a heartbeat. Taehyung's body stiffened for a second, clearly surprised. Then, slowly, his hands moved up to Jungkook's back, returning the embrace. The two stood there for what felt like forever. Two souls tangled in a moment of pure vulnerability, surrounded by chaos yet completely lost in each other. Was this really happening? Fans started crying. The live streams began blowing up across social media. Jungkook hugs Taehyung at Incheon. Taikook reunion emotional. Is this their goodbye or a new beginning? The internet exploded within minutes. One fan, her voice trembling, could be heard in a viral clip whispering, "He's holding him like he's scared to lose him." And that one line became the title of hundreds of fan posts, videos, and emotional threads. Inside that airport, time felt frozen. Reporters tried to get closer, calling out their names, but Jungkook didn't respond. His lips moved slightly, maybe whispering something to Taehyung, maybe saying nothing at all. Taehyung's expression softened, his hand rising to touch the back of Jungkook's head in a gesture that made even the coldest hearts melt. For a second, Jungkook lifted his face, and everyone saw it. The glimmer of tears in his eyes. ARMY screamed. Some cried, some stood in silence. They didn't know what had happened on that flight from abroad, or why the two seemed so shaken. All they knew was that this moment felt real, heartbreakingly real. Was Jungkook crying because he missed Taehyung? Because of something deeper, something the world wasn't supposed to know? No one could tell. But what happened next made the scene even more intense. Taehyung whispered something back to him, his voice barely audible through the noise. Jungkook nodded slightly, still clutching his hand even after the hug ended. They didn't walk apart. Instead, they stood side by side, Jungkook's hand brushing against Taehyung's, as if reassuring himself that the other was still there. Their manager approached, motioning for them to move. But neither of them seemed in a hurry. The fans' screams grew louder as Taehyung turned briefly toward the cameras, giving a small smile, the kind that didn't quite reach his eyes. Jungkook, meanwhile, kept his gaze down, his jaw tight, his breathing uneven. Was something wrong? People began speculating almost instantly. Some said Jungkook looked exhausted. Others believed he'd been crying even before the plane landed. A few even claimed to have seen Taehyung comforting him mid-flight, though no one could confirm it. But for those who had followed Taikook for years, this wasn't just another public display of affection. This was different. It was emotional, raw, unplanned, as if something had happened that neither of them could hide anymore. The hug wasn't for the cameras, it was for them. And perhaps for the first time in years, the walls between idol and human began to crumble right there in front of everyone. Some fans compared the moment to their early BTS days, when Jungkook was still shy and Taehyung was the one always teasing him, protecting him, guiding him. But tonight, the roles seemed reversed. Jungkook was the one holding on, seeking comfort, while Taehyung stood calm and steady, letting him feel safe in a fandom that had survived years of rumors, denials, and endless speculation. This single hug reignited everything. Was this their silent confession? Or a heartbreaking goodbye before something big was about to happen? No one knew. The clip spread across every platform. Twitter, now X, TikTok, Instagram, flooded with hashtags. Hashtag Taekook, hashtag Incheon moment, hashtag Jungkook and Taehyung, hashtag he held him like he would never let go. Fans analyzed every frame, every breath, every micro-expression. Some noticed Jungkook's trembling hands. Others saw the redness around Taehyung's eyes, as if he too had been crying before they landed. What happened between them on that plane? Why did Jungkook look so broken yet so relieved at the same time? Even the staff seemed unsure how to react. Normally, airport appearances were quick. Idols smiled, waved, and left. But this time, security gave them space. Perhaps they too understood that something too real was happening, something that couldn't be interrupted. A few fans later posted that when Jungkook finally lifted his head and looked at Taehyung, his lips formed words that looked like, "Don't go." If that was true, it explained everything: the tears, the tight embrace, the trembling voice that no one could hear. Was Jungkook afraid Taehyung was leaving again? Was this the moment of truth that had been building for years? Outside the terminal, chaos turned into hysteria. The crowd outside the airport had doubled since the first sighting. Reporters pushed forward. Flashes burned through the cold night air. And even through the noise, everyone could still feel the tension that had clung to Jungkook and Taehyung like a shadow. It was the kind of tension that came from something unspoken, something deep and personal that words couldn't quite express. As they made their way toward the waiting van, Jungkook's hand brushed against Taehyung's again. The cameras caught it. That tiny gesture that shouldn't have meant much, but to millions of fans around the world it meant everything. Taehyung turned slightly, his eyes soft, almost protective, as if silently telling Jungkook, "It's okay. I'm here." And yet, behind that calmness there was a flicker of something else, sadness maybe, or guilt. The video from that moment became the most replayed clip of the night. Some fans slowed it down to 0.25x speed, analyzing frame by frame. "Look, you can see Jungkook's thumb trembling," one user posted on X, while another commented, "This isn't just friendship, it's heartbreak. He's scared." Within hours, hashtag Taikook hug and hashtag Jungkook tears were trending in more than 40 countries. But even as the fandom erupted in theories and emotions, one question dominated the timeline. Why did Jungkook cry? Rumors started flying. Some whispered that something had happened during their overseas trip. Maybe a fight, maybe an emotional confession, maybe something much more serious. Others claimed that HYB had forced them to fly back separately, only to reunite by coincidence at the airport. None of these stories could be confirmed, but the mystery only made